Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Get Help Tuesdays here at City County Public Health and Human Services. I'm Steve Hollis, I'm the Services Manager here, and I'm again your host for this weekly event. Today, our special topic is homelessness. That's been a topic that folks have been talking a lot about, so we hope to kind of outline our community's ongoing efforts and then our efforts specifically with regard to the COVID-19 pandemic around the issue of homelessness. Today I've got an excellent panel of folks gathered today. We're going to have each of those guys talk about their role in addressing the issue of homelessness. We've got Elizabeth Herrera. She's the director at True North, our domestic violence and sexual assault Services Center. We have Laura Harris, who's with the PATH program at New Horizons. We've got Nancy Holloway, who is the Central Area Coordinator for the Salvation Army. And we've got Darren Morton, who's the Director at Turning Point. And I'm going to introduce those guys here in a bit and have them each of them speak. Before I do that, just a reminder, if you need to get help, we are still recommending people contact 211 on the web or over the phone. They're available 24/7. We also have an excellent list of COVID-19 related human services resources and health resources on the city's COVID-19 page. Just go there and click the Get Help button. It'll take you to our page with a list of comprehensive list of resources. So either check in with 211 or check our webpage. Again, if you want to give help, we are coordinating donations through our Como Helps group. That's the city, county, also the United Way, Central Missouri Community Foundation, and then Veterans United Foundation. Agencies are able to submit a single application to all of those funders that are reviewed daily. And we have, actually, I just ran the math, we have allocated over $600,000 specifically for the COVID-19 pandemic response. So we are needing more funds. So if you have the ability to donate, we're really recommending that you go to comohelps.org, and you can either donate through Central Missouri Community Foundation or through the United Way. And again, the Veterans United Foundation, the city and the county also are using that process. And then we talk about the proposals and share the allocations together. So back to our topic at hand today on homelessness. That's an issue that I actually work on a lot throughout the year with my friends and colleagues that are on the panel and many other folks. We couldn't have everybody on that works on that issue. It's a complicated issue. Trying to put together a panel of folks that represent the many faces of homelessness. It isn't just the folks that you see out in the streets. There are lots of kinds of homelessness. There are folks that are fleeing domestic violence and sexual assault. We have families that are homeless. We've got veterans that are homeless. We've got young people that are homeless. Just a wide variety of folks that are either homeless or experiencing housing instability. Probably the biggest group of folks that are technically homeless but really struggle a lot are the people that we are called doubled up or couch surfing. We have all over the country lots of folks that are living in places unstably that are not their own homes. So we also work on that issue as well. I want to talk quickly. The city works a lot on homelessness throughout the year. We purchase services from agencies to work on this issue, and for example, we work with our Turning Point and True North and Salvation Army through contractual relationships. We also do a lot of coordination. We try to bring federal money into the community. So we do a lot throughout the year. The other thing that we work on a lot is street outreach to our unsheltered population. Columbia and Boone County have really led the way in the state on our efforts to try to reach what we call a functional zero level of homelessness, meaning we have enough shelter and housing when folks are ready to get off the streets. Our street outreach team with people like Laura do incredible work throughout the year, trying to get folks, we know them by name and know what their needs are and try to work with them on housing plans. Also Darren with Turning Point plays an important role there. Is the place that a lot of our unsheltered folks go to get services on a daily basis. I do want to point out that We're challenged during the pandemic because some of the places that our unsheltered friends go, like the library, are closed. So we're going to ramp up efforts to make some extra services available. The city worked really hard to open some parks facilities, bathrooms, drinking fountains early, even before the frost-free time. We've also tried to allocate more resources to Turning Point in particular, and to the street outreach team. And I'm going to have those guys talk a little bit about that in each of their presentations. So, but I first want to turn to Elizabeth with True North, because I want to talk about a population that we don't often think about when we talk about homelessness, and that's folks that are fleeing domestic violence and sexual assault. So I'm going to turn over to Elizabeth first to talk about her agency, True North, and the population they serve and the work they do.
Thank you so much, Steve. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm the Executive Director of True North. We are your Boone County Dual Domestic and Sexual Violence Victim Services Program. And so we are here to serve those who are fleeing intimate partner violence, who are in fear of their lives, who maybe their lives have become unmanageable living in a relationship that is unsafe and unhealthy. You just want to leave. We can help you with that. I mean, we have the resources to shelter someone and their minor children up to 8 children and a mom. I house men as well that are fleeing domestic and sexual violence. And so when we talk about sexual violence, we're also referring to human trafficking, sexual assault. If your current living situation is unsafe because maybe you've been the victim, of an sexual assault in your home, and now you've decided that it's safer for you to couch surf, call us. We may have space available for you. Same thing goes with human trafficking. If your body is being used without your consent or is being exploited for monetary or any type of gain, we can also assist you with that. Domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. All services are free and confidential, so please know that. We did have to modify our service delivery, so it looks a little bit different, but rest assured that we're still here to help you. Everybody is all hands on deck, ready to support you through a very, very difficult time.
Elizabeth, can folks reach you guys if they'd like to help out a bit with True North's work?
Yes. And so we, in these critical times, can definitely use financial support. We had to cancel our biggest fundraiser of the year, Little Black Dress. And so that's heartbreaking, and it's also a matter of concern for us. So if you'd like to make a donation to True North, you can do it in various ways. You can go to our website, www.truenorthofcolumbia.org. You may click the Donate Now button. You can also go on our Facebook page. There's a donate button there, or you can just mail a check to 1316 Parkade Boulevard, Columbia, Missouri, 65203. Attention, True North of Columbia. Or you can call me, and I can help facilitate any way that you'd like to make a donation. If it's a stock donation, if it's anything in between, you can call me at 573-607-4636.
Thank you so much. I want to thank Elizabeth. Elizabeth really has been instrumental in involving our domestic violence agency, True North, in our homelessness efforts. In some communities, those kind of run in parallel universes, but True North has just been an amazing partner in Boone County and Columbia's efforts to address homelessness. I also want to share, just before we went live, Elizabeth was talking about a donation that they actually made to True North, or to Turning Point, from True North, of some hygiene items. And boy, if anything symbolizes Columbia, it's just that. Not only are we a giving community from us as citizens to our nonprofits, but the nonprofits are so incredibly supportive of each other. I thought it was a great example of how we work together so well. Elizabeth, thank you so much, and thanks for the work you do. I'm going to now go to Laura Harris. Laura's with the PATH program at New Horizons. And I'm going to have Laura talk a little bit about New Horizons and the PATH program and the work she does. Again, Laura is one of our fearless members of our Columbia Street Outreach team that goes out every day to work directly with our unsheltered folks and try to get them the supports they need and hopefully get on a plan to being stably housed. So Laura, thank you, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Steve. My name is Laura Harris. I do work as a homeless outreach specialist in our PATH program at New Horizons. New Horizons is a community support nonprofit, and we have basically two programs. PATH being one program that works with our homeless individuals toward getting them housed and stabilized. To be part of the PATH program, you must have a mental health diagnosis, and you can have a co-occurring substance abuse diagnosis as well. You have to be homeless or at risk of being homeless in order to be eligible for the program. So I wear kind of two hats in the PATH program. One is with our enrolled PATH individuals who we are actively working with to get them off the streets, get them stabilized from a psychiatric and substance abuse standpoint, and then helping them access other community resources like benefits, employment if that's something they want, trauma therapy, could be a variety of different things. The other hat I wear is the homeless outreach specialist as part of the CHOT, Columbia Homeless Outreach Team. CHOT is made up of individuals from several different nonprofits here in Columbia, and we go out every Friday as a team to identify and assist those individuals who are camping or are panhandling or on the streets. As an outreach team, we also try right now during the COVID-19 crisis, we have been going out on a daily basis as smaller teams to try and make sure that all of our homeless individuals are safe, make sure they have the resources that they need, food that they need. We assess for symptoms of the coronavirus, and then we try to work with them on finding some other way to be housed so that they're not out in on the streets or camping. We have been working with a couple of different organizations. They've been helping us with getting extra tents, sleeping bags, tarps, and then also with getting additional canned goods. We have been trying to partner with the food pantry, but they have had such an increase in their need to provide services for other individuals that we have, as a team, we decided that we would try to find other resources to help us be able to provide canned goods, non-perishables to our homeless outreach team. And we've been very successful with making that happen. So we're out and about. We're probably Columbia's best kept secret in terms of the CHOT team. We try really hard to be inconspicuous when we're out because our chief goal is to preserve the confidentiality of those individuals that we work with. We do not disclose camp information. We do not disclose, where people are panhandling or, any particulars with regard to our homeless individuals. So while we are definitely in need of assistance through donations and things, New Horizons does not directly accept donations. So if you are interested in helping the CHOT team, please donate through one of the other avenues that Steve mentioned earlier. That would be most appreciated.
Yeah, thanks, Laura. And one of the things we worked on recently was that our guests last week, actually, Phoenix Programs, we had Tracy and Rhiannon on. They're acting as the fiscal agent for our outreach team. So if folks want to donate specifically to the street outreach team, they can do that through Phoenix Programs. Just Google Phoenix Programs, and they again were our guests last week. So you could always check that video too. or you can contact any of us, and we'd be happy to make that link. I know that the Como Helps group, we just made a significant allocation of resources to Phoenix specifically for outreach. I know that we work a lot with the food bank, and they are able to provide basically the standard package that folks get. But we're trying to supplement that a bit because it's hard for folks to get in and out of their camps now, trying to reduce exposure. And so I just want to thank Laura, because Laura's out there literally on the streets every day, delivering food, water, hand sanitizer, hand washing kits, delivering education. I know we really worked hard on trying to get folks to socially distance as much as possible. And Laura's out there in the thick of it with the other street outreach team members. So can't thank you guys enough, and we really appreciate it, Laura. Let's turn it over to Nancy Holloway. Nancy's the area coordinator again for Salvation Army. That's a big job. She wears lots of hats. But today we're going to have Nancy talk about their efforts around homelessness. The Salvation Army here runs one of our largest, broadest shelters, the Harbor House. And so probably have Nancy talk a bit about that. And then we might also talk, and I'll recap this at the end. One of the strategies that we use is to provide motel and rent assistance to either keep people from becoming homeless or to get people off the streets. We also just made a really significant allocation of resources to 5 local agencies to specifically do those things. So Nancy, you might touch on that just a bit as well, and I'll turn it over to you.
As Steve said, the Salvation Army runs a 61-bed shelter here in Columbia. And in that shelter, we house both male, female, and family units. And we have 6 family unit rooms for individuals with younger children. We do have the capability of combining rooms for larger families. So sometimes that cuts down a little bit on the number of families that we can take. Our program right now is closed to the general public as far as volunteers coming in, teachers for programs and that, because we do want to keep our residents as safe as possible. We continue to provide and have been doing intake. This week with residents, we do check temperatures constantly, doing a lot of hand washing, do a lot of the sanitation that's needed just to keep the environment as safe as possible. With the program, normally we have outside programs to work toward getting people housed into permanent housing. And that is our goal for our shelter. So it's homeless individuals. We work with New Horizons. We work with Pathway. We work with VA. We work with True North. We have a lot of cross clients going back and forth. So when one agency doesn't have room or is in the process of admitting someone and they need a place to stay, they might start off in the Harbor House, or they might come there, and then the counselors from those other agencies come in and work with them, so that we as a team are providing the best that we can for the community. As Steve referred to, we are also doing some homeless prevention. And we're doing that with, we started off taking some money from donations that we had here in the community. We just received notice today of a significant grant from the community agencies, and we'll be able to work with individuals with rent and utilities. And these are individuals that have been affected by COVID. So if their hours have been cut, if they're right now unemployed, or if they've lost their job due to COVID. And we have them provide that documentation through either check stubs, a letter or text from their company manager or program manager or whatever, that we can then verify. We do have some self-employed, and we work with them to come up with some creative streams that we can use to document that they were employed, they did have income coming in, and now because of COVID, they have not. And so we're able to assist with the rent and utilities. Of our private funding, we have probably just a minimal amount of money, so this was perfect timing that we received notice of the grant today. donations can be made to the Salvation Army. Rock the Red Kettle, como.org is the direct site if they want to do an online donation to us. They can always call the 1-800-SAL-ARMY. That donation will come back to the zip code that you choose for it to come to when you donate to the National Salvation Army. So that's something different probably from the Salvation Army, maybe from other agencies, and that we're responsible for our own fundraising. And so we don't get, when we do national campaigns, those are have to come back to the local Salvation Army facilities. So I know that Sinclair Broadcasting just did a big fundraiser for the Salvation Army, but it's a national corporation, and individually what's being raised for Columbia will come back here. So we have a couple of different programs going on. We still are doing our lunch program, our community lunch program. We are simply not doing access into the building, so we're providing lunch that individuals can pick up during the lunch hour and then take off property to go and eat.
Great. Nancy, thank you so much, and thanks for all the work you do. We could probably do 30 minutes on each of these agencies and all the work they do, because they're so involved, and in the case of the Salvation Army, they do many things in the community. So thank you so much. For our last panelist, I want to turn it over to my friend Darren Morton at Turning Point. Turning Point is our homeless day center that is housed at Wilkes Boulevard United Methodist Church. Darren's, it's hard to believe you've been there a while now. It seems like yesterday when you started. Boy, Darren has just been an incredible partner as we've tried to really ramp up services at Turning Point. One of our areas of focus over the last year or so has been to put more services for people at Turning Point, so they have kind of a one-stop shop. And Darren's just been instrumental in being open to and facilitating that. So I'm going to turn it over to Darren to talk about what they do at Turning Point.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. So we over here at Turning Point, we are a day center, and we're open normally between 8 and 12, providing the services for people to come in, and we do use of mailing address so that people can check their mail. We have laundry, and then we also provide showers that they do, and we have a services coordinator on deck that can just help source people out to the right place to get services. You know, we definitely don't want to try to do what others on this panel do. We want to make sure we connect people with the right place. So we spend a lot of time just, getting people there, but then also just writing resumes, helping look up things, getting people to use computers to find whatever service or whatever they feel can bring joy within their day. We want to assist them in that. That's what we normally do on a regular, but since now we're in this time of unknown, our services we still provide the same services. We're just only allowing 10 people in the building at a time. So we're taking temperatures at the door when people's coming. We're coming upstairs. We got hand washing stations now that we're encouraging them to wash their hands right as they approach the door. And then when they come inside, we're encouraging them to still use hand sanitizer. We also have porta potties now in the parking lot, and that's helped a ton. So we can cut down on the traffic of people just needing to come in to use restrooms. Now they can go right there in the porta potties, and we got the hand washing station right there near it. Whenever a person comes to check mail, we got walkie-talkies that we just invested in. They're cheaper ones, so we're struggling with them a bit, but they're making do. And we walkie from the door to the mail area, and we get the name, and then we'll run mail out to them. Also with our coffee is just a big need for our community. They love it. So we mail, we page there, they come, and we bring down cups of coffee. So we're up and down the steps a lot, just taking out mail and coffee. Whenever people want to do their laundry or take showers, we'll let them in. We'll fill up our day room. Once we get capacity, we're upstairs kind of just pushing people to make sure that we're not just up here hanging out. Please do your service so that we can get the next person from out the parking lot in to do their service. So that way we got distance and things like that going. So I think this morning by 9:30, we had serviced 42 people by 9:30 already. And that's from either a shower, laundry, or use of mailing, getting it there. So one service that we struggle with during this pandemic is just we can't allow people just to come in to get out of the climate, you know. So we still do have people in, you know, for X amount of time. It takes an hour and a little bit to do their laundry or whatever. And then once we do get people done, I'll go out and walk the parking lot or go across the street to the bus station or wherever people are hanging out and just ask them if they would like to just come and sit inside once we, you know, we get people serviced the way they've been serviced.
Darren, if folks wanted to help out Turning Point, how would they do that?
So you can look at us on Facebook. We are Turning Point, just there on Facebook. And then also just here at Wilkes, you can call here. The number to reach us is 573-214-4077. You can call and we'll get back with you ASAP, or you can just email or just mail us anything, you know, and our address here is 702 Wilkes Boulevard, Columbia, Missouri, 65201. And, you know, you mentioned it earlier. I thought it was awesome. Just the other day, I was on a Zoom with a few people from the panel, and, you know, we got needs, you know, we got things that we just struggle with. And how awesome was that Elizabeth, you know, within 20 minutes after, you know, me mentioning how, hey, we can use some soap, we can use some deodorant. 30 minutes later, you know, a woman shows up with them items for us to help our community. And I just find that to be phenomenal, that if one service is thinking that they're going to do it by themselves, they're completely wrong. You know, it completely takes an army, a whole community, you know, to help our unsheltered friends.
Absolutely. Darren, you guys do some tough work every day, and we're so thankful that you're there. And really could never thank you guys or the other panels enough for all the hard work you do. I said last week when Phoenix Programs is on, I think of our frontline human services providers as our forgotten first responders. We of course value and salute who we think of as traditional first responders, but the fact is that a lot of social service providers are out there very much on the front line, probably seeing people more so face to face than many of our traditional first responders. So I want to thank you guys. The reason that we highlight how you can help is that this work doesn't happen for free. All of the providers struggle to, frankly, have enough resources to do what we do in normal times. One of the issues is that agencies are having to cancel their fundraisers, as Elizabeth mentioned. So we're trying to give folks an opportunity to talk about the work they do and talk about how the community can help support them. Is in the pandemic, one of the things that we're trying to do at City County Public Health and Human Services is not only provide financial support, but one of the things we've tried to do is really provide a lot of consulting on safely interacting and cleaning. And we're also setting up ways for folks that are really challenging to get screened and tested, that we have some processes to do that behind the scenes, particularly with our homeless service providers. I want to thank everyone. What we've seen from the providers is, A, they've stayed open, which is amazing. B, they're doing it in a really safe way. And also everyone is also taking the opportunity to educate our unhoused population about how they can best try to stay safe during the pandemic. So big shout out and thank you to everyone on the panel. I think I'll close by saying that what I hope that we're lifting up, and we could do probably the next 3 or 4 of these on our work on homelessness. I hope that folks are seeing that a lot of this work happens behind the scenes year round. I know we hear a lot about our unsheltered population now during the pandemic, but we need the community to know that Columbia and Boone County has really led the way in Missouri on how to tackle this issue. We meet as providers every 2 weeks. We sit down, we know all of our unsheltered folks by name. We have a risk score for them, and we literally sit down every 2 weeks and try to get people off the streets. We're pulling down significant amounts of state and federal funding to address the issue for a community of our size. And then during the pandemic, we're really trying to respond as local funders to try to prop up some of the work that's happening year round, and for which the demand is higher, and frankly the complexity of delivering the services is higher. One thing I might mention, Wilkes Boulevard United Methodist Church is also kind enough to host our soup kitchen at night, Loaves and Fishes. And we are also trying to prop up Loaves and Fishes financially because it is mainly, well, it's 100% staffed by volunteer effort, and folks are having a harder time volunteering due to the pandemic. So we're trying to prop that up with some prepared meals when volunteers are not available. Also, one thing we didn't mention is that Salvation Army has kept their lunch program going in a safe way by handing out sack lunches from the Harbor House. Those are two really critical meals each day for our particularly our unsheltered population. So I want to thank Sal Army and Wilkes and St. Francis community for keeping the feeding going. And then as Laura mentioned, we're also trying to get food out to people in the streets and water, trying to make more bathroom and water resources available. So not perfect. Everybody on this panel wants to do more. We are doing more during the pandemic. It's still not enough. We know that. It breaks our hearts every day, frankly, everybody on the panel. But the community should know that everyone is making a Herculean effort to serve both our sheltered and unsheltered homeless populations. And also, as Nancy mentioned, to try to keep people from becoming homeless at all through some of our homeless prevention efforts. So a lot going on. Again, I want to thank our panelists so much for taking time out for their busy days to be on this event. You can reach out to any of us if you have any questions, or if you have questions about how to donate. There's not a person on this panel that likes to ask for money. We wouldn't be social workers if we did, but it's kind of the byproduct of the business we're in. So it's always somewhat uncomfortable for us. But again, if you have the wherewithal to give, now would be a great time. We know that some of this, the economic relief payments are coming in. And if you're somebody that's in a fortunate position that maybe you don't need the money as much as someone else, be a great time to think about a donation to either comohelps.org or one of your favorite agencies like the ones on the panel today. So thanks everyone. And with that, we'll wrap up this edition of Get Help, Give Help, and everybody be safe. Thank you.